Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. It's a little bit later than I usually put one up because we just got back from taking our daughter out to camp, and I've been watching some news. So, still got my glasses on. I don't need those on to see you. Uh, Inside job. Um, Coverup. Coverup started before it happened. It continues as a very poor cover-up because of everything we've already seen leak out, and the cover-up is going to continue. I hearken back to what Trump said. You're going to get tired of winning. Are you tired of winning yet? Did you hear about this morning that Judge Cannon has dismissed the documents, confidential documents case against Trump? Dismissed it all? Because she found that moronic persecutor Jack Smith was improperly appointed, unconstitutionally appointed, which dismisses all of those counts against Trump. The first time they tried to kill him, do you remember when they served that? When they went into Mar-a-Lago to get those documents, and they took shooters with them. You know, this was in my day when that happened. Well, look what they did with Biden. I know that I'm jumping all over the place here. Look what they did with Biden. They called his lawyer. They arranged. They talked about how they might be able to come see the documents and all. They'd already done all that with Trump. I'm not going to rehash that. They decided to take. They took a hurt team with them, as I recall, into that. That's the FBI. Dun, dun, dun. In there, that's their hostage rescue team, their special team. They took them in there with the apparent orders that they could use deadly force if needed to get some papers that Trump had already gone through with them. That was their first attempt to take him out, and now all that has come back around. Trump has fought the good fight. I'm not going to make this a political. I'm going to get to something else in a minute. I'm going to get to the cover-up. But I'll cover this a little bit more on what I'm going to make after this on the American Reversion channel. I'm going to talk about the shot caller, who called the shot on this latest assassination attempt. But that was their first shot, and then they tried to ruin him financially. They tried to convict him. They tried to put him in prison. This guy, I tell you what, if God is not walking beside him, I don't see any other explanation, and that's the truth. So now, so he survives an assassination attempt. And then he has that huge case against him dismissed. Follow the other cases, see what happens with them. Okay, I'll talk. Oh, before I get into that, for those of you who are at the gathering, get together. Or get your cups, get your gathering mugs, and get that coffee. Mark Harrison over on Patreon just told me that his coffee now tastes better, drinking it out of a Stonemont Integrative Preparedness gathering mug, and I agree. Let me take a sip and we'll get at this. I put something up over on the Patreon channel already. If you're not with us on Patreon, the link's down below. I highly suggest you get over there with us because I put more of the political stuff over there. Sometimes I put the same video on both, if it applies to both preparedness and the more political things. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I put more political stuff over there. But on the Patreon channel, I get to put a lot more stuff on there than I do on the YouTube. And I've already put something up on this Patreon channel. It was an interview that I came across. Well, let me hold that. I'm going to hold that for just Patreon and the political channel. But I'm going to say that he was one of many who I watched this morning. People with the background to know, to verify what I have thought. Now the reason that I say that, when I see a situation, I'm usually pretty much able to get an opinion, and not necessarily knowing the exact details of it, but an idea. Okay, was this right? Was this wrong? Did this make sense? Did it not make sense? And it comes from, what you see has happened, what you see hasn't happened, a little bit of what you hear, because you can use some of what you hear if you know whether it makes sense or not. Now, the person who hasn't had the experience doesn't know, and that's the danger. If you haven't had experience in some of this stuff, be very careful, what you listen to. But if you have had experience, you're going to be able to pick up certain things. It's going to be, what was said, what wasn't said, the way that it was said, how the person looked. Experience gives you that ability. I've had people kind of get on me a couple of times, but just on this last one, saying, well, we need to wait for the exact investigation to occur before we jump to any conclusions. Well, having a good idea as a result of experience is not jumping to a conclusion. And if we wait for the investigation to go through, remember the investigation done by the FBI, those stellar, illustrious investigators that we have always trusted so much because they can be trusted, right? Because they're top-notch guys who are working for the American people, right? Kind of like Superman. That's the way we were always taught about the FBI when we were kids. And then some of us had the opportunity to work with some of them. Truth, justice, and the American way. Yeah. So we're supposed to wait and rely on the investigation to play its way out. Well, I'm sure it will bring us the same truth that the JFK investigation did, or the 9/11 investigation. And I think you probably agree with me on that, right? By the way, I want to say again, those of you that I had the chance to meet at the gathering, what a pleasure it was. What a pleasure it was. Later on, I'm going to start playing with a compass that Hondo Bob gave me. Hondo Bob over on the Patreon channel. Being law enforcement instead of military, we never messed with compasses, right? We didn't have to have a compass. We looked at street signs. and I've always been kind of infatuated. I mean, I worked with a compass in Boy Scouts, Not serious stuff like the military stuff. But I always found it interesting how they work their compasses. He gave me a training map and one of I forget the name of it, but one of the really cool compasses, military compasses, and I can't wait to get to playing with that because he told me all the different things that the military guys can figure out by their compass. I had no idea. But so I'm going to play with that later. That was an offshoot just because I looked at my mug and I thought about the gathering again. So, but back to jumping to conclusions, I had the same people, well, not the same people, I had people jump on me the same way back when I saw the Uvalde situation. It just took me, maybe an hour or so when I saw what was going on, what wasn't going on, and how people were talking to call BS on that. I knew that was a bad deal. And I was ashamed of law enforcement in that situation. And I had all sorts of people. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't. You should wait until we know the facts. Well, I knew enough facts based on experience to make a determination. And that turned out to be right. And I'm right in this case. That was a setup. And the cover-up is well underway. The avenue, I think they're getting sloppy. I'll be honest. This was not nearly as covered up as JFK. It wasn't nearly as covered up as some other things. Let's think about Waco. Let's think about Ruby Ridge. Let's think about 9/11. Let's think about a whole lot of other things that really you have to dig, and you have to have a certain level of understanding to understand that, hey, this isn't the way they're portraying it, right? But the masses without the experience, and I'm not putting down the masses at all. Every one of you out there has something in your field that I'm clueless about, right? And somebody could come along and tell me something that's your specialty, and I'd go, well, I must be right. The problem is, it's one thing if you're doing about, well, I don't know, I don't want to diminish any different, profession, so I won't. Because, I don't mean to. But anybody, you had to dig into those things. And if people didn't dig, they accepted the government story. Well, this is different. This is so obvious. The cover-up is so inept that, I mean, my 13-year-old daughter saw through it, right? I mean, you go from, and I called out the Secret Service, and I had somebody call me on that too. I looked at the Secret Service. You talk about, oh my, incompetence. Oh yeah, he got out of there alive, but not because of what the Secret Service did. They did just about everything wrong. And yes, I know what I'm talking about. And he still made it out alive, which shows me there's a whole lot of stories. Okay, I don't really want to get into all of them. Was there another shooter in the crowd? Was there really a local police officer that went up a ladder to the roof? Did the guy really see him, point a rifle at him? The local copper retreated, went back down the ladder. Did he fall off the ladder? Was he called back? Why was the roof uncovered? I mean, that was asinine. You know, I'm sure that Bongino is just going ape, you know what, over this. I haven't listened to him, but I'm sure that he is. I told you, I worked, you know, a second tier protective detail back in the 1976 convention, Republican convention in Kansas City, where Reagan was staying. Even as the second tier, as the locals brought in as one of the locals brought in to assist the Secret Service, and clear back in 1976, what happened down there at Trump's rally, that would have been inexcusable back then. And I know how much more technology they have now. I mean, did they not have drone cover? Did they not have aerial cover? Did they not have every roof secured within, 1,000 yards? It makes absolutely no sense at all. And the guy was killed. The so-called shooter was killed. How convenient, right? I know this is nothing new. I know that there's probably a whole lot of other people have said this because a lot of people are going to look into it. That's the beauty of today. We have a whole lot of people who have finally awakened, and said, should I believe what I've been told? And after they're done laughing, then they start looking into it. Okay. So what's next? And I think this is where it comes into the preparedness realm. What's next? Can they allow Trump to continue to be in the race? Because now he's assured to get in. If he wasn't before, after this, after surviving that, I mean, he is now the cause, the hero, and the martyr, all rolled up into one. And he made a statement, at least a statement that's attributed to him this morning, such as the picture of him, several pictures that were taken of him, bleeding and all that. He says, he's an iconic photo. Now, is one going to be of those iconic photos? Yeah, we got a mug coming on. Maybe 2 mugs coming on that. Maybe more than that. And I'll be designing those in the next day or so, and I'll show them to you. He says, usually, you have to die to have an iconic photo. If you think about JFK, think about RFK laying on the floor after Sirhan shot him. We think. They say Sirhan shot him, right? But he's alive. Tell me that God's hand isn't covering this man. And that's for a reason. That is for a reason. You are seeing things, I think we are seeing things that go so far beyond our understanding that, well, we can't understand them. We're just going to have to watch this. But now he's everything. He is a martyr that lived and continues to fight. That picture of him raising his fist, that's going to be one of the all-time, as he said, iconic photos. If they know that if he stays in the race, he wins. And then they know that all of them are in trouble. All of them could be prosecuted. all of these people obstructing justice from the big guy, that made the big boy speech the other day, to all the way down through his cabinet, through his attorney general, to Mayorkas, all these people. Jack Smith, he ought to be. There's a lot of people in there. Okay, Obama himself, maybe. All these people should be prosecuted, and they should go to prison. And I hope that he understands the importance of that. It can't be one of these things where it's, okay, well, I made it off of this, and now we're not going to retaliate. It's not retaliation. It's the administration of justice. And if justice doesn't come from this, I think the nation will lose that last thread that's holding it together with any amount of trust for the government. Okay? And when you have absolutely no trust, when you have lost all trust in the government cannot much longer stand. Right? Yeah. But they know that if he stays in the race, he's sure to win now. So, ask yourself this, do they want him to stay in the race? No. That endangers all of them. They're really fighting for their lives now. So what does that mean? You know, there were a lot of us that kind of implied, although we didn't say, well, I think probably some did say it, but I didn't, that there's another extreme to which they would have to go to try to that if he survives all these other things, there's only one more option. Well, it was tried Saturday, and it failed. Do they just let it go? Oh, well, okay. I mean, if you believe that some 20-year-old kid is the one who did this, I don't know what to tell you. Well, I'll tell you this, it wasn't. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do? It'll be interesting to see, won't it? And it's going to be dangerous. And that's where we get into preparedness. Now, I know most of this has been like news of the day, political and things like that, but it all comes down to preparedness. These are the things that can cause a country to split. I don't know if it will or not, but these are the kinds of things that can make it split. These are the kind of things that can really release that underlying monster, if you want to call it that. There is a breaking point for almost everyone and every group of people. And, we get back to the straw that broke the camel's back. What straw is that? We don't yet know. We haven't seen that straw. And I'm not going to guess at what it might be, but every step along this road takes us more and more and more closer, let me put it that way, closer and closer and closer to a point from which we can't return. And that means that everything changes. Does that make sense? I'm being as obtuse as I can. I know there's a lot of people out there saying it, much more clearly than I, but you're a more intelligent audience. You know what I'm saying, right? And I'm not one of those who comes out and just says things exactly right. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute when I talk about who called the shot on this over on the American Reversion channel. If you know where the link is, down below. So be ready. Be prepared. This is going to be an interesting week. I'll be watching the Republican convention tonight because it wouldn't surprise me at all for Trump to walk out in there and make an appearance. He did it. Was it in 16 or 20? I don't remember what. He wasn't supposed to come out the first night, but he did. Guess is the VP nominee going to be announced today, or is that tomorrow? I don't know. I don't keep up on that. It'll happen when it happens, right? But I'll be watching tonight. I want to see what's said. I want to see the atmosphere. And he has a chance. He's going to be using this. They have given him a gift. And he's going to use it. And he should use it. But the danger is what they might do. So you get yourself ready. That's what's important. You have to be ready for things to happen that could change the complexion, and I don't mean that by color, of the country. Is this an excuse for another attempt? Now listen closely to this, because I'm not going to put it into words, so you have to follow me between the lines here. An attempt and assured to be more successful on someone, on Trump or someone else, in order to drive a political outcome. I'm not even going to get into that. Probably other channels will. I can't. You all have to put on your thinking caps, because they have to find a way to win this thing. And now they're like a cornered animal. Very dangerous. So make sure you got everything you need, right? Stock up, because if they could, I'll just put it this way. If there was a situation that was dire enough to where there was an assassination of someone, they could put big clamps on the country. They could put big restrictions on communications, on the finance system, on the delivery system, elements of martial law. You know, and that's gradient. I mean, you have a little bit, you can have a lot. You know. But this is one of those times that I don't think a lot of us thought we'd ever really live through. You know, and we will see. We will see. So get ready. I'm going to jump off and talk on American Reversion about who called the shot on this one. If you're not with us on Patreon, I'd love to have you. I've already put a few things up over there that you would want to know about that I don't put on YouTube. And if you're not with us on American Reversion and you're interested in the political aspects of things, come over there. And I'm going to be real interested to see what happens, because these are times unlike any we have lived through, I think. I'm going to get off. You all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. You're going to live as well tomorrow as you prepare to. So it's up to you. You decide. Okay. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later.